Hello again. In this position, white is required to checkmate in two moves. I like two movers because, of course, once you find the key move, you only have one more move to go, don't you? And that's possibly why the key move is more difficult to find in a two mover than it is in a more mover, although some would disagree with me on that. But that's another story. Let's stick to the story in front of us. This problem was constructed on the basis that white can try four times to deliver checkmate in two moves, and each of those four fails. Let's first of all have a look at those and why they fail. Just take a good look at that position and try and solve it for yourself by all means. This is the whole idea of these videos. So take a good look at it. Just to give you a clue, there are 3 tries with the queen and 1 try with the bishop. So let's get the bishop one out of the way first. The try here is to play here. Now what white is trying to do is to play on the following move, bishop d3 mate. This, however, is cooked because black can come in here. Now I saw bishop c4 immediately, and then I saw bishop e2 almost immediately. There's just no way that he can deliver bishop d3 mate or mate in any other way. So that cooks it. Now we come to the queen moves. Well, let's try queen f1. What is white trying to do here? Well, he's wanting to bring this queen to b1 to deliver checkmate, and then he doesn't relinquish his control over d3. That's the idea behind that. How is this cooked? Well, this time black uses the other bishop and he comes in here, and there is no way then that white can deliver checkmate on the second move. He can try this sort of thing, but there are interpositions that stop him. And although the B line is nicely covered, he can't apply the mate on the next move. He cannot get his queen to B1, and that is the whole idea. He can't bring the queen to D1, backed up by the rook, because the bishop is covering it. So that's the second try that's cooked. Let's have a look at the third one. We've tried bishop c4. What about bringing the queen to c4 instead? Now, what is the idea behind this? Well, the threat here is to play bishop a5, and that's checkmate. That's pretty neat. But what is even neater is black's reply, which is the staggering knight b3. Now, you wouldn't think that that would save him, would you? The problem is, if he does try and move this bishop now, he has a flight square here because the knight stops the rook from giving check. And no matter how you look at this position, of course, quite naturally, should he go this way, then the king is free to come here because he no longer has control over the a5-e1 diagonal. So that is a very neat, very clever way of avoiding checkmate in two moves, as I'm sure you'll agree. So we have one more try, yet again with the queen. Where do you think we should go? Well, let's go to b5, and the idea here is, as we saw in the second try with queen f1, is to bring the queen down here. So what happens there? Well, the dark square bishop comes to black's assistance again, and of course white cannot get there. If he tries checking, say, here, then black has a flight square. This is the problem with it. There's just no way that he can achieve his objective there. If he tried to bring the bishop here, then of course the knight would just take it off, so there's no way that there can be a mate in two. So that is a neat device as well. So what do we do here? How long did it take me to solve this? It took me about 1 hour. And I tried all of those, and I couldn't find any way through. An interesting try is this. it just doesn't work. But this is not something that was suggested, but I had a look at it and I thought, well, no matter where you move here, then you should be in a position to deliver checkmate by means of, in the case of where the bishop moves away from here, you can play rook c1 mate. If he plays here, it's rook b2 mate. If he plays here, it's rook c1 mate. That sort of thing, and thinking that should perhaps he push this pawn, you can play here, check. The problem is he interposes his bishop. So really, it's not a very good try. But I gave it a go anyway, and I instantly thought, well, no, it's not going to work, is it? For reasons just gone into. So I didn't persist with that one. The fact is here, and this is part of the composer's idea, he's deliberately placed the king here so that there's no question of playing bishop takes f5, bishop takes f5, queen e2 mate, because once he's played bishop f5, the capture puts white in check. So let's have a look at what wins here. I did say it's a double sacrifice. Can you see it? Well, the double sacrifice in question is this. My hour was nearly up when I spotted this, and I thought, right. Now, first of all, if he takes with the king, yeah, we then come in here, and that is checkmate. So king takes d1 is out. What does he do as an alternative? Well, supposing he plays here, what do we do then? Well, now, like I was just saying, bishop f5, in this particular case, it works because there's no defense to taking that pawn, and that is equally checkmate. So now the king takes d1, nor bishop takes d1 works. So essentially, if black tries to take this rook that's offered by way of double sack, he loses on the second move. So what else does he have? If he moves anything else, what is white threatening? Well, apart from just one move, this cannot be stopped if he doesn't take that rook. And that's the whole idea behind rook d1. That's what I saw anyway. And then I thought, what happens if black takes the rook? Well, we just found out. And that's the best way to analyze these. What happens if? Just give it a go. And the move in question that stops queen d3 is that, of course, because should he play queen d3, the queen is whipped off. But of course, the final nail in the coffin for black is there, and that is checkmate. And that is something, like I said just a little bit earlier, that the idea behind playing bishop f5, if he could have got away with it after bishop f5, then it's queen e2. He can get away with it now, because black has had no option but to give up his bishop to stop queen d3. I trust you enjoyed that one. It's a rather neat way of mating in two. I like them. I like the shorter mates because it means that the key, once you have the key, you don't have to do much else. Well, they can still be tricky, but it is less work once you have the key. So the longer ones are more complicated, of course, because there are umpteen variations, but the shorter the variations, the easier it should be once you have the key. It's essential to find it. And goodbye for now.